is on Chinese ADRs and Prosus in particular. Just how has your point of view changed with the developments over the last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there has been any developments over the last couple of months. I mean, so Prosus is our investment. It's a South African company. Actually moved to Netherlands, but it's originally a South African company. And they, 20 years ago, made a large investment in Tencent. At a time, Tencent was a tiny company, and fast forward 20 odd years to today, and Tencent is one of the largest companies in the world, and probably the single most important company in China. Prosus has virtually never sold any of its shares, so still owns 29% of Tencent, and that stake alone is worth about 100 and I think I wrote it down here. Let me just check what it was. The Tencent stake alone is worth about 115 billion euros. And Prosus's market cap is 70 billion, and in addition, it has a whole bunch of other stuff as well. So I think it's a valuation which is totally crazy. But the question is, of course, always, well, there must be some reason for that. And the share price has done very poorly the last few weeks. And I think one of the reasons given is that there's an increased nervosity about the robustness of ownership rights in China, especially given sort of everything that's happening in Russia. And I don't want to. Well, we can go down that rabbit hole if we want to, but I really view Russia and China as very, very different things. I know from the perspective of someone based in the US or Europe who's never been to either Russia or China, and both seem to be vaguely sort of previously communist and with autocratic sort of leaders, it can feel like it's sort of more or less the same type of thing. But if you've spent any time in China in particular, the two countries couldn't be more different in my view. Russia is effectively a mafia state, in my view. I think that's been clear to people for many years, and it's obviously very sadly been shown to be the case over the events of the last few weeks. Putin has done nothing for his people. There's the company hasn't developed in any way. The life expectancy of males has declined. You have a small minority of hugely wealthy people, but that wealth has come from effectively stealing state assets as opposed to creating businesses. I saw one idiotic comment comparing Russian oligarchs to Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos created one of the greatest businesses the world has ever seen that creates value for everyone on this planet. I mean, the difference to a Russian oligarch just couldn't be more different. And then you compare that to China, and I think China is the opposite to that in almost every respect. It was a struggling third world country 40 years ago, and it's risen now to being, it's on track to become the largest economy in the world. And it's been an incredible development of human potential. Hundreds of millions of people moved from poverty on the countryside into cities. Incredible companies created, incredible increases in wealth. It really couldn't be more different in my view. And so if the questioner is sort of implying, look what's happened to Russia, China is next, then that's just a hypothesis which I just don't agree with. It kind of reminds me when in my very first job, which I don't like to talk about too much, I had a sort of stint in London at Goldman Sachs Asset Management, which I hated and not particularly proud of. But I was there for about a year, and one of the reasons it was such an unpleasant job was, the guy who was effectively the boss of the business at the time. He wasn't particularly competent or particularly competent guy, and it kind of captured it. And we were always, of course, laughing at him when he wasn't there. And it kind of captured it once. We had this Japanese businessman visiting the office, and it was a problem because this guy, this Japanese guy didn't speak any English, and none of us spoke Japanese. And my boss back then said, "That's not a problem. Why don't you take Christophe?" Now, Christophe was a guy in the office who was from France but spoke excellent English as well. So he, by English standards, he was like close to a genius in terms of languages. But we're like, yeah, why would we take Christophe? And he goes, well, he speaks foreign. And I kind of feel like when people effectively throw China and Russia in the same bucket, I kind of feel like it's like they're making a similar mistake. But I realize not everyone will agree with that, but that's the way I see it.